Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Thursday, October 29th, and I've got your top stories for you from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you very much for being here to get filled in on everything that's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. We start with the latest news from Governor Mike DeWine's press conference today. A lot of people expecting him to say that counties reached that level 4 purple status in the public health advisory system when it comes to COVID-19, but that is not what Governor Mike DeWine said today. No counties are currently at that level 4 public health advisory alert status, that purple level. The 3 counties that were under a watch in order to advance to the 4th level were Cuyahoga County, Clark County, and Hamilton County. And all of them are also not currently being watched to go to level 4. They are back at the level 3 red status. Now, to break this down for you, we'll explain it because it has been confusing. People are talking about this on social media. So in order to officially be labeled a level 4 purple status under that public health advisory system, a county has to carry the necessary indicators for 2 consecutive weeks. That requires an increase in the indicators for 2 consecutive weeks. During the first week, a county will be placed on the watch list, which is what happened in Cuyahoga, Clark, and Hamilton counties last week. And in the second week, there would require an additional increase. Well, those counties actually plateaued, according to Governor Mike DeWine. They didn't continue to rise, but they stayed where they were. They didn't fall either. They stayed at the levels where they were, therefore not becoming that level 4 purple status because of no increase in those necessary indicators. Now, Governor Mike DeWine said even though the counties are not at the level 4 purple status, there are still serious concerns. He said in Cuyahoga and Hamilton counties, cases continue to rise and hospitalizations remain at an elevated plateau that could continue to increase. If so, we might see those counties back on a watch status potentially next week or in the future here. Governor Mike DeWine said that in Clark County, local health department officials told him today that they are seeing alarming increases in terms of cases. They've had 271 COVID-19 cases in the past 7 days and hospitalizations at a record high, and 41 deaths in the month of October, when their previous high for deaths was 17 in August. He says that what we're seeing in these counties is similar to what we see in the rest of the state, case numbers continuing to go up and healthcare facilities being used and that trending upward. He said it's concerning and it's not good. Now, a lot of people confused about this on social media. Some people thankful that these counties didn't reach that formal level 4 purple status, which is the most serious designation on that public health advisory system. But other people very confused about the fact that it's not considered a concerning factor that these counties stayed where they were, which was a problem last week, but isn't a problem this week because there was no additional increase. So some people are saying, what's the point of having that purple designation if it's not going to be used? Other people saying that we need to just shut things down because clearly people are not following the guidelines as we see by the rising cases, which brings us to the COVID-19 numbers for today. These are from the Ohio Department of Health, and there was a massive increase in daily reported cases, blowing the previous record out of the water. In the last 24 hours, there have been 3,590 new reported cases of COVID-19 here in the state of Ohio. That is an incredible increase from the previous record, which was around 2,800. This is the first time that a daily reported number for COVID-19 cases has been over 3,000. The testing positivity rate on average for the last 7 days is at 6%, and the last daily positive rate is at 7%. So what we're talking about here is all the COVID-19 testing that's being done. These are the percent of the cases that are coming back positive. Both of those numbers above that World Health Organization recommended threshold of 5% right now. New daily reported deaths are also up from yesterday. There were 19 reported in the last 24 hours, up from 17 on Wednesday. New hospitalizations are also up. 194 people have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. As of right now, the government is reporting that the current active hospitalizations are the same as yesterday, so 1,536 people hospitalized, and of those, 416 people in the intensive care unit, and we've seen 26 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours. Also, the current hospital bed occupancy rate is at 73%, so about 27% of the hospital beds in the state available for people who need treatment. Now let's take a look at the national and the global numbers for COVID-19. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. In the U.S., we are almost getting very close to 8.9 million reported cases of COVID-19. That number is at 8,897,402. The total number of deaths related to COVID-19 in the U.S. is now at 228,143. And again, pointing out that we have about 4% of the global population, but about 20% of the cases and 19.4% of the known COVID-19 deaths. At the global level, there are now over 44.7 million reported cases of COVID-19. That exact number is 44,708,172. And the total number of deaths at the global level for COVID-19 is now at 1,177,077. Now, as we look at these cases rising here in the state of Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine's said today in his press conference that it's private gatherings that are to blame, not schools. That's another comment that people were making after learning that those 3 counties didn't advance to that purple level 4 status. Was why are the schools still open? Some people saying that. Well, DeWine says that they are attributing this rise in cases to the private gatherings, not to the schools. He says there was a high school football team that had 13 players test positive with COVID-19, but that was because a couple of the players got together and infected each other, and then that spread to others on the team. He said the spread mainly happened at informal gatherings, not at regular team functions. He also said there was a funeral at the end of September that now has 19 COVID-19 cases associated with it, 17 people identified as actually being at the funeral, and 2 cases as secondary spread. Now, this is the information that is coming from the contact tracers here in the state of Ohio. DeWine said he's not saying that there's no spread in workplaces and schools and bars, but what he is saying is that a big part of the spread, according to the people dealing with it every day, those contact tracers, is coming from informal gatherings. He did mention an outbreak among staff at a doctor's office as a result of people not wearing masks as required. He said the staff members at the doctor's office were either not wearing masks or not wearing them properly. That is something that we see a lot of. When you are wearing a mask, the medical experts recommend, they say you need to have it covering your nose, it needs to cover your mouth, it needs to extend below your chin. So wearing your mask down here with your nose out doesn't help anybody, and having it pulled down under your chin with your nose and your mouth exposed also doesn't help anybody. So if you're taking the step to wear that mask, make sure that you're wearing it properly to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Now, for people who are looking for a little bit of relief, people can start applying for programs here in Ohio on Monday for relief related to COVID-19. We'll start first with something brand new the governor said in the press conference today. There will now be an initiative called Learning Aid Ohio. This is a supplemental tutoring program. And starting on Monday, eligible families can apply for up to $1,500 in grant funding. That's to help cover the costs of tutors and other things that they need. These are for students that have special needs when it comes to learning, particularly the students that are now learning at home that aren't able to access those things at the school. So for more information on that, you can go to learningohio.com. Now, for small businesses, the Small Business Relief Grant, there will be $125 million available for small businesses with 25 employees or less. This will be divided among Ohio's 88 counties, so each county will have access to $500,000. This money will be distributed first come, first serve, and it can be used for things like mortgage or rent, utilities, salary, wages, compensating employees and contractors, supplies, equipment, and other things for small businesses again. Also, the Home Relief Grant, there'll be $50 million available to 47 different community action agencies. These are for eligible Ohioans to pay rent, mortgage, certain utilities so that they can avoid services being shut off and foreclosure or eviction. In order to qualify for this, your income level needs to be at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines to be eligible. And then relief efforts for bar and restaurants that will also be available for application. That's about $39 million that's available there. And that has been allocated for specifically bars and restaurants that haven't been able to fully utilize their liquor licenses but are still providing that in-person dining experience. We have more of that on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Now, before we go here, one more thing we'd like to let you know. Remember, the governor has recommended that people not have Halloween events, okay? But we do think that it still is possible to celebrate without having an event. You can do it at home, and we would love to see your photos of how you're doing that, like your Halloween costume. So you can text us that photos. You can text them to 216-344-3300, or you can send them to us in the WKYC app using that Near Me feature. You can also post them to us on social media. We have a story asking for your Halloween costume, so you can comment them on Facebook right in that comment section, or post them on social media using the hashtag 3Halloween. Make sure you let us know your name, where you're from, and how we can reach out to you to let you know that we'd like to use your photo or your video on TV or on social media or on our website. We would love to show it off. And another reminder for you, 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney is now a podcast, so you can find that wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever. Just search for 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney. Subscribe, rate, and review it, please, so that we can connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio. That's it for your afternoon update for Thursday, October 29th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for more 3 News Now. Everyone stay safe and be well. I'll see you back here tomorrow. I'm Stephanie Haney.